So we have just concluded the Haiti conference, which was themed Africa, Afya, Health for All conference, where we brought various stakeholders in the health field. Various components of health. You know, health is about the economic side, the science side, the manufacturing side. All of those people have been here. And I think we have achieved what we wanted to achieve through this conference. We wanted to create a conversation that is practical in regard to how we could or we can make a difference for Africa in terms of health. We have a lot to do now, clearly. We've received a lot of insight, a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, a lot of suggestions, and I would say direction in that regard. I mean, when you get such a multiplicity of people from all over Africa, from various professions and engagements, you cannot be the same. So I know that none of us is the same, and because of this conversation, Haiti is not the same, and I believe Africa will not be the same. And we're going to move right away into implementation of some of the suggestions that have been made. Majorly is to grow the Ubuntu Health Impact Fund, which is a fund that we have developed or we're developing to incentivize pharmaceutical production and innovation in Africa. And that was actually one of the key issues that came up in regard to or regarding how Africa produces so little compared to what it needs. In fact, we heard that we only produce 1% of the medicines we need. And people said that's scandalous and that needs to change. So we will put a lot of effort in building a fund that will incentivize innovation and production of pharmaceuticals in Africa. And we will work very hard to bring on board various foundations, impact funders, northern governments, you know, to come on board and support this fund, donate to it, and move. And as you know, it's an impact fund, so it's meant to support the work of reducing disease in Africa, making an impact. We want to make a difference for Africa. And you know, there are several things that we need financing for in terms of pharmaceutical innovation and pharmaceutical production. But we have agreed that, or we've resolved, that we must pay attention to genomic data collection and analysis. And so we will put the first efforts in the development of biomedical research centers. We've already begun with one in West Africa. We want to replicate that in Central Africa, East Africa, and Southern Africa for a start. And most likely we will commit the initial $100 million that we are raising in the next 1 to 2 years to those efforts, because we have appreciated the fact that Africa has very rich genomic diversity and genetic diversity, which must be leveraged for its own purpose, for Africa's sake, but also for the world. And so that's one of the things that will really promote, and those come among the initial projects that we work on. Like I mentioned, we've started with this very outstanding state-of-the-art set of 9 laboratories, okay, developed by concerned innovators, concerned scientists, yeah, Africans who have spent a lot of time in the diaspora, and others who have built the capacities here, who have come together to develop this kind of work, and that's what we are supporting. And like I said, we'll replicate them in East, Central, and Southern Africa. Another important piece that we are working on immediately is the need to put together in a one-stop shop sort of data repository. And I've spoken about genomic data. Now we're speaking about even just physiological data or health data, health informatics that we already have in the various corners of Africa or various corners of our country, but we will harmonize it and put it together in a one-stop shop. And that will be important because the data that we'll put together is data that has been collected over the years. So we'll have longitudinal data that will help us to sort of see what kind of patterns have been created, and what do we learn about this data, and also just help individuals to have access to their own information, health information, wherever they are. This is very crucial because we need to tell our own stories, and we want to use data to tell our own stories. We don't want to be told how we are suffering, what we're suffering from. We need to tell our own stories. And in my language, they say, what pain is detected by the person who feels it. And this data will help us to tell our own pain, our own suffering in terms that sort of suit the way we feel the pain and the way we feel the suffering. We don't have to wait for America or for Europe to tell us, you are sick and this is what you are sick from. We must collect our own data and use it not only at the hospital level but also at policy level. Use it for various uses that are important in making decisions in the healthcare place. One of the key efforts of AHETI is to bring together existing resources, because there's a lot of work going on in the health field, but it's disparate, separated, efforts, scattered efforts here and there. Very good things, like groundbreaking work. So AHETI is doing all it can to ensure that we bring stakeholders, not only at the country level, AHETI thinks Africa, at the Africa level, so that we solve these problems as Africans. Yeah? And also with others who are supporting Africa. So we'll have this expo, Health Expo, where we will create an opportunity for various actors, okay, to come and showcase what they are doing and how they are supporting health system reforms or other reforms that are supporting healthcare in Africa. We'll bring them together, they showcase what they are doing for the purpose and sake of, cross learning, knowledge transfer, learning, and anything that could help one group, one individual to learn from the other. But not only that, there are others who are in the health field who are intervening directly, like I mentioned, with a tech lab. But there are also just others who may want to just finance things like that, like impact investors, foundations. We will bring all of those people together so that we create an opportunity for greater collaboration, for greater impact.